Hello, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we dedicate ourselves to bringing you the stories behind the headlines with depth, compassion, and a commitment to the truth. Tonight, we have a story that, well, the word heartbreaking doesn't even begin to cover it. It's a story of a woman living in a fishbowl of scrutiny, a family built on a specific set of beliefs, and a very public, very shocking fall from grace that has left one woman to pick up the pieces. We are, of course, talking about Anna Duggar. The title of this video says it all: New Sad News. Anna Duggar shows stunning transformation, heartbreaking news. It will shock you. And I have to be honest with you, community, when we started researching this piece, we expected to see one thing. We expected to see a woman broken beyond repair, a shell of her former self. And while there is undeniable sadness, what we found was something far more complex, far more nuanced, and yes, in its own way, truly stunning. So, get comfortable, and let's delve deep into the heartbreaking, shocking, and transformative journey of Anna Duggar. This isn't just a news update, this is a human story. To understand the stunning transformation of today, we have to first go back. We have to understand the Anna of yesterday. The woman she was before the world knew the name Josh Duggar in the context of scandal. Anna Keller wasn't just a girl who married into the famous Duggar family. She was, in many ways, the perfect candidate for their world. Born into a similarly conservative Christian family, her upbringing was steeped in the same principles outlined by the Institute in Basic Life Principles, or IBLP. This is crucial to understanding everything. Her identity, from a young age, was built on a foundation of modesty, submission to male authority, and the ultimate goal of being a helpmeet, a godly wife and mother. She was presented to the world on The Duggar Show, 19 kids and counting, as the sweet, demure, and ever-faithful partner for the eldest Duggar son. Remember those scenes? The cautious courtship, the side hugs, the sheer innocence that was not just a personal trait but a televised brand. She was living the dream that her entire life had prepared her for. She had secured what, in her world, was considered the ultimate prize: marriage to a man from one of the most prominent families in their community. Her entire identity became Josh's wife, then the mother of Josh's children. Her smile, her demeanor, her very presence on camera all reinforced this narrative. She was the supportive spouse, standing by her man, building their life together and expanding their family. She had, by all outward appearances, achieved the life she was promised would bring her purpose and joy. But then, the first cracks appeared. And they were seismic. In 2015, the world, and almost certainly Anna, learned the truth about Josh's teenage years. The revelation that he had molested several underage girls, including his own sisters, was a bomb that shattered the Duggar brand's carefully constructed image. For Anna, this wasn't just a public scandal. This was a personal, profound, and terrifying betrayal. The man she had pledged her life to, the father of her children, had a history of predatory behavior that was now splashed across every magazine and news outlet. The public waited with bated breath. What would Anna do? The pressure on her must have been unimaginable. From the outside, the path seemed clear: take the children and leave. But we are not looking at this from the inside. We are looking from the outside of a belief system that teaches forgiveness, but also wifely submission and the permanence of marriage. And what did we see? We saw her stand by him. In a statement, the family said they had forgiven Josh, and it was implied Anna had too. She appeared by his side, her face often a mask of stoic resolve, but if you looked closely, you could see the turmoil in her eyes. This was the first major test, the first instance where the private reality collided catastrophically with the public persona. The perfect helpmeet was now the forgiving wife of a confessed molester. The transformation had begun, but it was an internal one, a quiet hardening, a survival mechanism kicking in. The show was cancelled. The Duggar family retreated from the spotlight to rebuild. And for a short while, it seemed like maybe, just maybe, they had navigated the storm. Josh went to a faith-based rehab facility. They had another child. Anna's social media posts returned to a semblance of normalcy, photos of the children, Bible verses, expressions of gratitude. It seemed like she was choosing her faith, her marriage, and the life she knew. But the storm wasn't over. It was merely gathering strength for a final, devastating strike. Then came April 2021. Federal agents descended on a car dealership owned by Josh Duggar. The air was thick with speculation, but the details were scarce. Then, the hammer fell. In December of that year, Josh Duggar was arrested on federal charges of receiving and possessing child sexual abuse material, what is commonly, and inadequately, referred to as child pornography. Let's be very, very clear about the nature of these charges. The trial evidence was not just disturbing, it was depraved. It depicted the worst kinds of abuse imaginable against the most vulnerable among us, children. The prosecution presented evidence that Josh had downloaded this material, that he had used sophisticated software to conceal his activities, and that the material was among the most severe the investigators had ever encountered. I need you to truly put yourself in Anna's shoes at this moment. The man you married, the man you have forgiven for a previous, horrific transgression, is now accused of something even more monstrous. The father of your 7 children is facing decades in prison. Your life, once again, is being dissected on a global stage. The shame, the horror, the confusion, it's a depth of despair that most of us cannot even fathom. Throughout the trial, she was a constant presence. Day in, day out, she sat in that courtroom. She heard the graphic testimony. She saw the evidence presented. She watched as the man she loved was exposed as a man capable of unimaginable darkness. Her face during that trial became a story in itself. The stoic mask was still there, but it was fractured. You could see the pain, the shock, the sheer weight of the reality crashing down upon her. And then, the verdict, guilty. On all counts. Josh Duggar was remanded into custody. He was later sentenced to more than 12 years in federal prison. The chapter of her life as Josh's wife, in any active, daily sense, was officially, legally over. This is the crucible. This is the fire in which the Anna Duggar we see today has been forged. This is the heart of the heartbreaking news. The news isn't just that Josh is in prison. The heartbreaking news is the ongoing, daily reality for Anna. It is the life sentence she is serving on the outside. So, let's talk about this stunning transformation. What does it actually look like? The transformation is not one of a woman who has broken free in the way many viewers might hope for. She hasn't cut her hair, moved to a big city, and started a new, secular life. That is a fantasy projected onto her by an audience that wants a clean, Hollywood ending. No, Anna's transformation is far more subtle, far more complex, and, in its own way, far more powerful and tragic. First, the physical transformation. Look at recent photos. The constant, bright-eyed smile that was her trademark is gone. It has been replaced by a more measured, often weary expression. The light in her eyes, which once seemed so unwavering, has dimmed. There is a gravity to her now, a weight that she carries in her posture, in the set of her jaw. This is the physical manifestation of grief, stress, and survival. She has aged not just with time, but with trauma. Her style remains modest, consistent with her beliefs, but the joy that once seemed to animate her appearance has been replaced by a quiet, determined dignity. This isn't a makeover, it's the map of her suffering etched onto her face. Second, the social transformation. She is now fundamentally alone in a way she has never been before. While she undoubtedly has the support of the wider Duggar family, she lives in a house on the Duggar compound. The nature of that support has changed. She is no longer just a daughter-in-law. She is the wife of the man who brought unprecedented shame and legal disaster upon the entire family. There must be a complex web of resentment, pity, and obligation there. Her social circle, once defined by her marriage, has collapsed. She is the sole parent, the sole decision-maker, the sole bearer of the burden. She is isolated by her circumstances, trapped by her notoriety, and likely isolated within her own belief system, which may not have a clear roadmap for a wife in her situation. Third, and most importantly, the transformation of identity. This is the core of the story. For her entire adult life, Anna's identity was derivative. She was Josh's wife. Now, what is she? She cannot be his wife in any practical sense. The head of her household is in a federal prison cell for crimes against children. The theological framework that defined her life, the headship model where the wife submits to the husband, is in a state of impossible suspension. So, who is Anna Duggar now? She is, first and foremost, a mother. But not just a mother, a single mother of 7 children who are trying to understand why their father is gone. She has to answer their questions, manage their grief, and shield them from the horrifying details of their father's crimes, all while the entire world watches. Her identity has been forcibly narrowed and sharpened into that of a survivor and a protector. She is no longer the sweet, naive girl from Florida. She is a woman who has looked into the abyss of human depravity and has had to find a way to keep walking. The transformation is the shedding of that naivete. It is the development of a fierce, protective, and likely very lonely strength. Now, let's address the questions so many of you are asking. Why does she stay? Why has she not filed for divorce? This is perhaps the most frustrating aspect of her story for outsiders. From our modern, secular perspective, the path is obvious. Divorce him, condemn him, change your name, and start over. But to expect that from Anna is to misunderstand the very core of her being. Her entire worldview is built on the sanctity and permanence of marriage. In her belief system, marriage is a covenant before God, not just a legal contract. Divorce is not an option, even in the face of adultery, and certainly, in her framework, this would be seen as a form of infidelity. To divorce Josh would be to renounce not just him, but her faith, her family's teachings, and the entire structure that has given her life meaning since birth. It would be a theological and existential earthquake. Furthermore, there is the concept of being a virtuous woman, a Proverbs 31 woman. In this context, standing by your husband, no matter what, is seen as the ultimate test of faith and virtue. To leave him could be interpreted by her and her community as a failure of her religious duty. She is likely viewing this as her cross to bear, her test from God. Her perseverance, in her eyes, is a testament to her faith. It's also a practical prison. Where would she go? What would she do? She has no formal education beyond homeschooling, no work experience. She has 7 children. Her entire support system is enmeshed with the Duggars and their belief system. Leaving would mean abandoning everything and everyone she has ever known, with no resources and 7 dependents. The fear of that unknown is as powerful a prison as any bars. So she stays. She visits him in prison. She posts Bible verses about God being her rock and her fortress. She presents a unified front for her children. This is her stunning transformation. She has transformed from a wife into a martyr for her faith. And this is the heartbreaking news. The heartbreaking news is not a single event. It is the ongoing, slow-motion tragedy of a woman trapped by the very beliefs that once gave her comfort. It is the news that she is living a life of quiet, desperate resilience, clinging to her faith as a life raft in an ocean of pain. The shocking part isn't that she's changed her hair or her clothes. The shocking part is the profound psychological and spiritual imprisonment that persists. We are witnessing a human spirit weathering a storm with no end in sight, choosing a path of immense personal sacrifice that most of the world cannot understand or agree with. Let's talk about the children. Anna is now the sole pillar for 7 young lives: Mackenzie, Michael, Marcus, Meredith, Mason, Mariella, and the youngest, Madison, who was born after her father's arrest. Imagine the conversations in that household. How does she explain where Daddy is? How does she protect them from the taunts at school or the whispers in their community? How does she help them process the fact that their father is a convicted sex offender, while also trying to allow them to have some form of a relationship with him? This is an unimaginable tightrope to walk. She must balance the truth with their innocence. She must instill values while explaining the absence of the man who is supposed to be their primary role model. The emotional and psychological burden on these children is incalculable, and the responsibility for navigating that falls entirely on Anna's shoulders. Every birthday, every holiday, every school play is a reminder of what is missing. Every visit to the prison is a surreal and traumatic event normalized into their routine. Anna's transformation is also about becoming a buffer, a human shield between her children and the harsh realities of their father's actions. The energy that must take is exhausting just to think about. Now, let's look to the future. What does life hold for Anna Duggar? The path ahead is long and bleak. Josh Duggar's projected release date is not until 2032, and even then, his life will be severely restricted as a registered sex offender. Anna will be in her late 40s. Her children will be teenagers and young adults. Will the years of solitude and sole responsibility bring a further transformation? Will the constant pressure eventually cause a crack in her faith? Or will it only solidify her resolve? It's possible that as her children grow older and ask harder questions, her perspective may shift. It's possible that the relentless scrutiny will force her to find a new, more private strength. But one thing is certain, the Anna of old is gone forever. The woman who believed in the fairy tale of a perfect, godly marriage has been replaced by a realist who knows the deepest, darkest secrets a marriage can hold. So, where does this leave us, the audience? The people watching the story unfold from the outside? It leaves us with a choice. We can judge her for staying. We can scream at our screens in frustration, demanding she wake up and leave. Or, we can exercise something that is in desperately short supply these days, empathy. Empathy does not mean agreement. You can believe her choice is wrong, you can be furious at the belief system that holds her captive, while still feeling a profound sense of compassion for the human being trapped inside it. She is not a character on a TV show. Not anymore. She is a real woman living a real-life nightmare. She is a victim of her husband's crimes in a very real sense. Her life, her dreams, her family have all been destroyed by his actions. She is collateral damage. The stunning transformation is the story of how a person endures the unendurable. It is a lesson in the complex, often contradictory, ways the human heart and mind cope with trauma. It is a stark reminder that not all prisons have physical bars. Some are built with dogma, fear, and love that has been twisted into obligation. The heartbreaking news is that this transformation is ongoing. It is happening every single day she wakes up in that house on the Duggar compound, gets her 7 children ready for the day, and faces a world that pities her, judges her, and watches her every move. The shocking news is that the worst has already happened. The shock is in the aftermath. The shock is in the resilience of the human spirit, even when that resilience leads us down a path we cannot follow. As we conclude, let's remember that this is not our story to direct. It is Anna's. Her transformation is her own. It is messy, it is painful, and it is unfolding in real time. All we can do is watch and, perhaps, learn a little more about the complexities of faith, forgiveness, and the incredible strength it takes to simply survive. Thank you for watching. Please share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. Let's have a conversation grounded in kindness. And as always, if you have a story you think we should cover, let us know. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.